evening. The work that I'm going to be sharing tonight is work that I started the series in about 2004 while I was still in school. A lot of ideas about personal experiences that I've experienced, social stories, experiences, and ideas, and how they actually add to the discourse or social values or perceptions in society. So basically, I make these targets, stems from personal experiences, and a lot of the work, or a good deal of the work, was influenced by a book called Hip Hop Generation by McFarlane, and a lot of experiences that I've had when I was a little bit younger, just being accosted by men and being basically looked up at as an object. So that's what my work addresses that and some other issues. So these are some preliminary sketches that I did. These were about strip clubs, basically. Kitwana talks about in Hip Hop Generation how strip clubs have become even more prevalent in society, and it's basically a shortcut through from courtship. So it's actually an idea that men who feel like they want to, they don't want to be rejected, can go to a strip club and get what they want without having to deal with courtship and dating. There's a couple ideas. This next piece, this is a print that I did that didn't work out so well. A college experimenting. This was an Italian print and didn't work out so well. But later on, I do return to this theme, this idea. I found the ladies, these silhouettes of these women, and it was kind of interesting because I would press a keystroke and I would get these silhouettes. So I started playing out with these ideas.
Where did you find these?
I found them online. There's like a ton of them.
Wow.
And this is a small selection of what I found. So I started typing stuff. So here's one of them. And because of the mechanical nature of prints, it was easy for me to create a lot of them. So I just printed as many as I wanted, and then I just started having a conversation over and over again with these prints. Here's another one. I just kept looking for different ways to explore this idea. So I wrote it actually on the image. So I was doing white on white before. Sometimes I do white marker underneath, so you have to actually look at the physical piece to see the text on it. So I just wanted one step closer. Another one, and then I think this little detail of that led to something else where I thought about what these images are here for and what their purpose was. So I actually had to start getting research, and this is the next piece. So I knew some guys that I hung out with in college. They actually had this little trade going where they would trade videos and stuff. So I actually had to find a couple of them and hunt them down and get some videos so I'll be able to do the research for these pieces. So there's only a few of them that I selected out of the ones they did. So it's just having this really direct conversation about.
Are you familiar with Kara Walker's work?
Yes. We're actually alumni.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's very cool. There's a great history in the silhouette.
Yes.
Colonial times is still what's happening now in contemporary art. It's really cool stuff.
We actually have some of the same professors.
That's really cool.
And this is the detail of those, that last one. Another piece, and when I did this one, I started having a different conversation. I started thinking about some of the guys that I hang out with, how they would talk to each other about women, or how I felt that men were approaching me with what their intentions were, and that led me to a couple different ideas about the same thing. And then this piece, and then finally went to this one, this tally. This piece was first shown in 2005.
That's great.
Thank you. And then I continued a little bit further, and I kind of came across the idea of a target. So this is basically like the building blocks of how I made them. The ones that I'm showing you don't have any splatters on them, but that was just like an idea I was thinking about at the time. So here's a couple of the targets. So these two are kind of a little bit more passive, kind of how I am, like when I'm being approached or I'm not like doing anything to entice or invite. It's kind of like, okay, this is what it is. What I like about the targets is that they're flat. There's no name. You have no idea what she looks like, who she is, what her interests are. It's like none of that even matters. It's all about is just getting the goal. So I started showing these in 2010. There was at the Girls Club for during Art Fallout, and during that show, people were allowed to make comments. So these are just a few of the comments that people made. And this is one of the targets that was actually there. 2011, I kept working up with this idea that introduced light into it. I came back to the strip club idea, and I started making backlit signs. So here's the first one that I did. And I showed these. This was at 18 Rabbit Gallery in Fat Village in Broward. Another one. So I started adding text. So this was more about like the relationship between a clothed man and a naked woman in a strip club. And then there's this whole different unbalance of power that's going on right there. And that's pretty much it. So right now I've been working on some more backlit signs, and that's pretty much it.
I bet those people are sad that they left early, if they didn't only stay. Anybody have any questions for Caroline?
Yeah. How do you make these? What do you...
They're digital files. So initially, I'm just composing the different elements in Illustrator, and then from there, it depends on what the output is. If it's a backlit sign, I get it printed on backlit film and then put it in a light box. A target may get printed, or I may use it as a template for creating a painting.
Any other questions? Have you thought about working with moving images at all and silhouetting them?
I have not. Yes.
Have you ever thought of going into a different medium?
What kind of medium?
Like, it would be really interesting if you had done it like in a 3D novel. Like if you like if you had done it in clay maybe. That would have been really good.
That's interesting idea. Yes.
I think neon is the obvious direction, but I kind of would like to see, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, like using the targets for real, like actually taking them to a gun range and having people shoot her, and then showing the shot once.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of that idea, and I was also thinking instead of having like a regular gun, I was thinking of a paint gun, because you could use the white paint to get the splatter.
Yeah. Not as violent though. And they feel violent.
Right.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
Using that idea with the targets and going to a gun range, what really is the message that you want to get across to the men? All right? If you put your work in a gun range, you really bring out violence. What exactly is the message that you want to shoot back to them when they are shooting at your target?
That's a very interesting question. Well, the gun range idea is interesting, but what I was more getting at with the targets was that this idea of, okay, you approached me, you have one thing in mind. I can tell you that my name is, Candy Cane Jane, and it wouldn't matter as long as you get what your end result is. So it's like everything about me is just washed away, means nothing, and there's only one goal that's in mind. I think my targets kind of speak more to both men and women, the guys that think that way. Some of them recognize it as their own thoughts and they don't see anything different. For some of the women, I know one of a story I heard from the girls club, someone saw my work and after she looked at it, she said she felt used, she felt different, like she came to an understanding that, okay, yes, putting on all this adornment and everything is not necessarily for your personal benefit, but to have someone attracted to you so that they can get what they want out of you. So it actually did change a little bit of her perspective about herself. Yes.
Have you sold any of your works?
Yes, I did sell the tally, the one with the crossed out. This piece.
That's great. Thanks. Any other questions?
Yes.
Vivian?
Adding to what she said about the gut range and also adding your idea about the white splatter, I think what she was meaning to say is when the men, if you would actually take it to a gun range and have the men shoot at it, there should be some aspect of it, of whatever you make out of it, like shooting something back, like maybe making like black, like how you have the black and the white targets, but making them like little, like something that would have substance on it, to, like a balloon, like a small balloon, to have liquid in it to then splatter back and cause that splatter onto the drum as well as not directly hitting them because obviously it's a long distance, but causing that effect that, oh, after I hit the target, something else is coming back toward me. Something like that.
That was a good idea.
Or
It
they
could
just
be
miss.
close, it could be a dart, you
Or
know?
they never hit the bullseye, right? You shouldn't get, like
Uh-huh.
professional shooters, you get amateurs, it's like they're trying to get in the target, but they miss every time. Because
Right.
they're
Yeah.
trying to skip the steps of courting.
Right. That's good.
That's good, yeah.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah, those two at the end, those are the one that missed, basically.
He's still counting out.
He's still counting those two.
Yeah.
So
So he says
you
that.
have to add more, or
Yeah.
he's going to subtract those or add more?
The piece is complete, but it's like, okay, he's got 2 more and then like another 3, and then he'll make a strike throw.
Okay,
So it's kind of like still counting.
because of them are 4,
Yeah.
so, maybe.
47.
Yes, who's counting?
I disagree with everybody about this in a gun range. I think this stuff is fabulous. You got tally and you got targets, and it's just a series that's incredibly powerful. And I wouldn't waste it in a gun range.
Absolutely.
This should be in gallery. This stuff is good.
It has been.
It's powerful.
I think that it's useful to hear discussion like this, and I think that one of the things that's interesting to me about the targets not being shot or before they're shot is the potential, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm aiming whether or not I decide to shoot or not, right? So I think that that's kind of you're imagining what happens next, and that's always, I think, an interesting thing in art is to kind of what's the next step. That's what you do as the viewer to the work. So I think that's very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Carolyn.
you.
Very good.